Today, Friday, Muslims around the globe celebrated and embraced Eid al-Fitr festivities with joy and happiness. Despite the fact that it is a public holiday, doctors and nurses at national health institutions were at the disposal of the patients. And internationally, after long and tiresome discussions, German MPs approved Greek third bailout. Eid Mubarak, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us live on Zay News. In our top stories, the first day of Eid al-Fitr, or the end of fasting holiday, was celebrated across Algeria and the entire world on Friday, with worshippers and believers rushing to mosques to perform Eid prayers, which have been characterized this year by the preacher's condemnation of violence in society and encouragement of brotherhood and unity. Lamia Ashush has the details in the following report.
These were the calls of the praying Muslims since the early morning hours of the first day of the Holy Eid holiday that marks the end of a month-long fasting period, making up the month of Ramadan. All the mosques across the country have been packed with worshippers, stoked to welcome this much-awaited holiday.
We wish prosperity and good times for our country and all the nations. We wish happy Eid to all Algerians and all Muslims.
Preachers across the Republic have seized this opportunity to stress the importance of preserving unity between all the citizens and condemn violence in society in all its forms.
We ask God to bring this Eid to us again every year with all the blessing, peace and happiness, and to preserve our country and bless it with peace and security.
And like every year, Algerians have demonstrated the most brotherly forms of unity and togetherness, which are strengthened every year with the coming of Eid al-Fitr.
This is a chance to forgive one another, and even with oneself in all the families across the country. It is also a chance for this national movement of togetherness to continue, which our youth has proved worthy of carrying on, remembering the orphans, the sick and the needy.
The first day of the end of fasting holiday, or Eid al-Fitr, is a chance that is always open for forgiveness and brotherhood, as well as a spiritual portal to carry on the path of divine worship that has been enshrined in all the believers during the holy month of Ramadan.
Still with the blessing atmosphere of Eid al-Fitr and in this holiday, numerous Algerians prefer to go to hospitals to visit patients and to remind them they're not alone, a scene which is not surprising in the Algerian society that is characterized by solidarity and unity. Lamia Ashush again.
Visiting the sick is a scene that has been very familiar to Algerians, whether in religious celebrations or in everyday life, under the theme of solidarity, brotherhood, and humanity, to make the sick feel that they are not alone.
Everyone is here, from professors to doctors to nurses, the general manager, all the crew is here, even charity organization and citizens. This is a special day. It's Eid. We checked on the patients. May God cure them. Some of them have terminal diseases. I thank all the people that are gentle towards patients. We hope this initiative will continue.
Young men and women in the prime of their lives have chosen to spend the first day of Eid in hospitals, wanting to share the blessings of this day with people whose health has failed them and prevented them from spending it with their families.
We have come here to the Mustafa Bash Hospital to give gifts and toys to young kids. Everything has been easy and facilitated for us.
Every Eid or holiday, we visit them. These kids need our care. We need to check on them. Even if their parents are here for them, we need to be too. I brought gifts to the poor kids who are sick. The generosity of these people is nothing new to a society well known for its solidarity and togetherness at all times.
Truly a noble act. Still with Eid al-Fitr atmosphere, this time we'll shed light on a traditional musical art of Zerna, which has become associated with unique Algerian patrimony and which is always present in the Algerian celebrations, especially weddings. Let me show you again.
The Zerna music is an artistic expression that dates back centuries ago, representing Algeria's cultural and patrimonial diversity, considering the many civilizations that it embraced throughout the years. The origin of this music is Turkish. It is a very ancient form of art. Now, it is mostly used in wedding ceremonies. The art of Zerna, oftentimes a hobby performed in almost all Algerian celebrations, has now become the perfect representation of the pure Algerian identity. The Zerna brings joy, happiness and love into the Algerian homes. We are preserving this form of art to make it last forever and pass it on to future generations. Traditional clothing along with traditional musical instruments sing in the most popular shabby music songs. This is how the Zerna singers embody the Algerian traditional patrimony. We take our musical notes and bits from the Nuba or the Ala, from the Andalus music. We take the Qadriyat, the Naqlabat and the Nasrafat. Thank God that people are still interested in this art form today and that have really learned. They really love Zerna. There are still some students of artist Boualem Titish and even those that came after him. An Algerian folklore left behind by great Algerian artists for the upcoming generations in order to preserve our popular antique patrimony that makes Algeria so versatile and unique.
From this joyful atmosphere, we move on to war-torn countries, where at least 9 people have died in explosions at prayers for the Muslim festival of Eid in the Nigerian town of Damaturu, according to official sources. The 2 female suicide bombers included a 10-year-old girl. There were 2 blasts at a venue where volunteers were waiting to screen worshippers. No group has said it carried out the attack, but Boko Haram has recently stepped out its campaign of violence in Nigeria. From Africa, we shift to Europe, where the German parliament has approved negotiations on a new third ballot package for Greece, hours after Chancellor Angela Merkel and Finance Minister Wolfgang Schäuble endorsed the proposal. Karim Faz-Zakri has the details in the following report.
The German parliament has voted to approve negotiations on a third bailout for Greece. German MPs voted 439 in favour to 119 against, with 40 abstentions. The Chancellor had urged Parliament to back talks following last Monday's accord between Athens and its creditors. Even the usually hawkish Finance Minister, Wolfgang Schäuble, called on the Bundestag's support. I ask all of you today to approve the motion. I and the German government did not take the easy way out. We believe that there is a chance to bring the negotiations to a successful end. The Bundesrat, the upper house, has also approved the multi-billion-dollar rescue package. The backing from Parliament came thanks to support from Merkel's coalition partners.
Deutschland wäre es zu einer Einbeziehung des IWF nicht gekommen. Und zur Wahrheit des heutigen Tages gehört ein weiteres.
Without Germany, there would have been no help from the IMF. and we would never have obtained the necessary programme for Greece if Germany had approved the aid earlier without sufficient guarantees, as nearly everyone was demanding.
Finanziellen Hilfen ohne ausreichende Entscheidungsgrundlage zugestimmt hätte.
Earlier, Merkel had urged the country's legislators to approve the legislation, arguing that it would be negligent not to try for a deal. Merkel told the special session of parliament the legislators faced a decision for a strong Europe and a strong Eurozone. On Monday, legislators for Merkel's Christian Democratic Union party had voted overwhelmingly in a parliamentary poll in favor for Greek bailout deal, ahead of Friday's parliamentary ballot. At the meeting on Monday that lasted 5 hours, 48 legislators dissented, while about 250 backed the deal. Member of the Social Democrats, Merkel's coalition partner also strongly supported the agreement at their own meeting. Germany is one of several Eurozone countries that must approve the rescue deal.
Still in Europe, a roll call of those who died in the MH17 air disaster and a procession to the crash site have marked the first anniversary of the tragedy over eastern Ukraine, in which 298 people died. Victims were remembered in a village close to where the airliner came down, and in the Netherlands and Australia as well. At some memorials, relatives clutched sunflowers, a symbol of the Ukrainian field where the bodies were found. Still in the same context, 12 months have passed since the downing of MH17 near the Ukrainian-Russian border in the Donbas region, where 298 lives were claimed. However, the Netherlands' investigation is still underway and definitive conclusions are not expected until the end of this year. More details in the following report by Karim Faz-Zakri.
MH17 crashed where eastern Ukraine separatists backed by Moscow contended with Kiev government troops for territorial control. This was near the Ukrainian-Russian border in the Donbas region. Almost two-thirds of the 298 dead were Dutch. 12 months later, the Netherlands investigation is still underway. An internal report was tabled last September. Dutch legal authorities have revealed certain findings implicating pro-Russian separatists in the disaster, but definitive conclusions are not expected until the end of this year. This week, Malaysia, Australia, Belgium, the Netherlands and Ukraine officially asked the United Nations Security Council to create a tribunal to judge the people responsible for the crash. Gerard van Bohemen is the ambassador for New Zealand, current holder of the rotating council presidency.
They are seeking to find a mechanism to establish to deal with criminal accountability in relation to the downing of the aircraft. I expect that issue to be the subject of quite intensive consultations in the course of the coming month.
Russia vetoed such a tribunal, calling the initiative counterproductive. Russia and Ukraine have each steadfastly said the other was responsible for the downing of the civilian airliner. Kiev accuses the rebels of shooting it down with a missile supplied by Russia. Moscow denies the allegation and lays the blame with the Ukrainian army. On Wednesday, a case was brought in Chicago on behalf of the families of 18 of the victims against Igor Straklov-Kirkin, former Minister for Defense of the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, saying that he was behind the attack on MH17 and that he acted with Moscow's blessing. 6 of the victims' families in this case are British. The total being claimed in damages is $900 million.
And now moving on to science news. History was made this week as New Horizons gave us our first real look and HD look of Pluto and its moons, after it spent almost a decade flying through our solar system. Now let's fly to Pluto with Nadia Qasmi in the following report.
Scientists are stunned at the incredible new images of the surface of Pluto, its largest moon Charon and its farthest flung moon Hydra, which are just the tip of the scientific iceberg that will be sent back by NASA's New Horizons probe in the wake of its epic flyby.
We now have good measurements of its diameter and its radius. Its radius is 1,185 kilometers, plus or minus 10. That settles the debate about the largest object in the Kuiper Belt.
New Horizons made its closest approach to Plato at 7:49 a.m. Tuesday morning, but it took almost 24 hours for scientists to get sneak peek at the treasure trove of data that the probe picked up. It will take 16 months for the spacecraft to beam home the entire volume of information it collected during its historic Pluto encounter. Stephen Hawking has congratulated the New Horizons team and NASA following their successful mission to the dwarf planet Pluto.
I would like to congratulate the New Horizons team and NASA on their pioneering, decade-long mission to explore the Pluto system and the Kuiper Belt. Billions of miles from Earth, this little robotic spacecraft will show us the first glimpse of mysterious Pluto, the distant icy world on the very edge of our solar system.
At a media briefing held today, leaders of the New Horizons team discussed some of the new images taken during and around closest approach.
PI, Mom on Pluto 1, we have a healthy spacecraft. We've recorded data of the Pluto system, and we're outbound for Pluto.
Among some amazing revelations, the new photos show that Pluto's surface is surprisingly young and is studded with big icy mountains, and that the Charon has been geologically active recently and possesses canyons up to 10 kilometers deep.
Science proves to be that it is the magic of reality. And to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen, let's follow these clips from our staff here in Zain News who left their families during the first day of Eid to make sure that the channel is always up to the level. Let's follow.
صحايتكم وكل عام وانتم بخير وتعيدوا بصحة ولهنا.
بهذه المناسبة يعني نتوجه بأحر التهاني إلى كل زملائي في قناة زير نيوز وإلى كل العائلة الكريمة. ما حلفناش الحظ اليوم باش نجوزوا العيد مع فاميلتنا، نتمنى لهم يعني عيد مبارك وكل الشعب الجزائري وكل الأمة الإسلامية إن شاء الله يا ربي كل عام الشعب الجزائري يقعد متلايم واليد في اليد إن شاء الله ويعطيكم الصحة وصحة عيدكم.
بمناسبة عيد الفطر أتقدم بتهنئة الحارة للأمة الإسلامية جمعاء، أسأل الله أن يتقبل منا ومنكم، عائلتي الكبيرة هنا بقناة زير نيوز، وأيضا العائلة الصغيرة، الأب الوالد والوالدة والإخوة. صحايتكم.
عيدكم مبارك، كل عام وانتم بخير. العيد تم قصد الأمة الإسلامية هاكن مثلا. ميرسي.
وبهذه المناسبة نحيي الزملاء اللي راهم يضمنوا الخدمة العمومية والخدمة في هذا اليوم، يوم السعيد.
بمناسبة حلول العيد المبارك أقول لكم عيدكم مبروك وكل عام وانتم بخير إن شاء الله.
صحايد كل مشاهدين قناة زير نيوز، صحايد كل الجزائريين، كل الأمة الإسلامية، كل العاملين خاصة بقناة زير نيوز وزير تي في وكل عمال قطاع الإعلام.
نقول لكم صحة عيدكم، صحة عيد كل الجزائريين والأمة الإسلامية، إن شاء الله كل عام يعاد علينا بالخير والهنا إن شاء الله.
بمناسبة حلول عيد الفطر المبارك أتقدم بتحياتي لكل الأمة العربية والإسلامية أينما كانت، أقول لكم كل عام وأنتم بألف ألف خير.
صحيتكم، كل عام وأنتم بخير. أنا بهذه المناسبة ما ننساش نوجه تحياتي الخالصة للوالدة العزيزة اللي هي تاج راسي، قولها كل عام وأنتي بخير. صحيتكم.
عيدكم مبارك، كل عام وأنتم بخير.
Je souhaite un Eid Moubarak à toute ma famille ici en Algérie, à ma famille à l'étranger et aussi à toute l'équipe de la rédaction anglophone, francophone que je salue et à tout le peuple musulman, notamment les Gardaouis qui ont beaucoup souffert.
And with this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our news in English brought to you from Zain News. Once again, Eid Mubarak and goodbye.